Well, hello and welcome to Third Power Life. I'm Dan Gentry, your host, where we are helping you take command of your life and stop drifting. Today we are talking about something really cool. It's the power of rituals, as I like to call them, power rituals. Also, today we have a sponsor for our podcast. It is Third Power Performance and their 3-day Maximizing Impact AI Challenge. Now, here's the truth. Most people think that we need more willpower to get things done and to change our lives. And the reality is, willpower does not work. Willpower is way overrated. What you need are habits, are rituals, are power rituals. You know, whether it's your morning routine, whether it's your evening routine, whether it's how you write in your journal. So these rituals reduce decision fatigue. They open your mind for more creativity, more ability to get things done and execute. So let's dive in. So I've recently added a new power ritual to my life. Right? I was recently reading the book The Gap and the Gain, and fantastic book. If you haven't read it, absolutely do. But one of the things that they talked about was this nightly routine. And I have decided to adopt it, and it has made a tremendous impact, right? So every evening, about an hour before bedtime, usually 9:10-ish, right? I will put the phone down. Right? I charge it here in the office. I take out my journal, and I list out 3 gains, right? At least three wins from the day. What did I do well today, right? And it helps me get into that kind of a positive, I did stuff. Even when the day doesn't go well, and trust me, there are plenty of those where, the things I wanted to do, I didn't get them all done, right? However, I did do good things, right? So letting go of the regret of not getting things done and getting into the gain of, here's what I actually did. Here are things that mattered, right? It's like for yesterday, I got a really good workout. Went with my personal trainer, did a fantastic job. I've been marketing my AI challenge. That was a win. I scheduled a dry run of that training right? So these are wins that I did that helped, these were positive things. And it gets me in a much better mindset. And then on the next page, I will write, what are 3 wins that I want to get tomorrow, right? Now, last night, one of my 3 wins was record a podcast. Here we are, right? That is setting it up. So when I wake up in the morning and I have my morning power ritual where I do, my journaling and all that, I already have, here are the wins that I need. So I wake up and I'm executing. I'm not going, well, let's see, what did I want to do today, right? It's already there. The core 3 things that I really want to focus on are done. And I've circled, here's my big win, right? Here's the big domino, the one thing. If you talk to me at all, I love the book, The One Thing. What can I do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? And my one thing for today is the podcast. That's why I'm doing it first thing this morning. So I was writing down my big wins, writing down what I want to do for the next day. And this was the big one, and this was the painful one. My precious phone goes on the charger in the office, and then I leave the office. For the past 20 years, I don't know, however long I've had phones, so probably 25, 30 years, I always charge my phone next to the bed. So I could have it if I needed it for some midnight emergency, right? I don't think I've ever actually needed my phone as a midnight emergency. but it's always been right there. And one of the things that I've heard from Simon Sinek, they mention it in The Gap and the Gain. I've heard it from sleep experts, is stop the phone at least an hour, 30 minutes to an hour before bed, because the light messes with your sleep cycles, but don't have it in the bedroom. And if you know me, I'm a geek, technology crazy person, and I will tell you, the first day felt weird. It felt weird walking out of the office and into the bedroom without my phone, without my precious. But it absolutely changed my sleep. And I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I would do, I would grab, in the morning, it used to be I'd grab my phone and look at the text messages, look at all of the, what fun news there has been in the world, which is always so positive. Yeah. So now I don't, I get up and I actually get out of bed easier. It's actually easier to wake up, which seems really weird, right? I get up, I go brush my teeth, I do my morning routine, and I actually get some reflection time before I come into the little negativity box. And it has reduced my anxiety levels. One of the things that I do in my journal is every day at the top of it, I write, I give myself a sleep score and a stress score, right? So like last night I slept okay. It was like a 6, and my stress is at a 5 today. So not it's kind of, 5 is like normal, not a big deal. If it's a 1 or a 2, I was like, I'm on vacation, I'm in a hammock somewhere, right? No stress at all. 8 or 9, and it's okay. That's usually when it's a really bad week at work, right? The interesting thing is, I can look back in all the journals that I've got back here, and my stress levels since I started doing this have dropped 2 points. It's wild. The anxiety that has gone down, and I'm not like an anxious person, but just not having that negativity first thing in the morning, and knowing that my phone's gone, and all of and doing these positive rituals of here are my gains and here's what I'm going to gain, has reduced my stress level dramatically. So I say all of that. Create your routine, right? Because the power rituals matter, right? They really, really do. The habits that you have all kinds of either positive or negative effects. But if you can create power rituals that are enabling you, that are helping you take command of your life, it's incredible. They reduce decision fatigue, right? Decision making takes energy. It's like a muscle, right? The more you make decisions, the better you'll get at it. But the reality is that we only have so much decision making energy for a given day. And if you're trying to, decide, well, let's see, what do I want to do today? You're having to make major decisions first thing, and you're draining that down. Where if you had taken the night before and spent a little bit of more time with it and come up with, here are the things that, based on yesterday, here's what's really important. You've taken out a huge amount of, you've given yourself a huge amount of energy for the next day that you're not using on doing that decision. And if you can create habits, I use habit stacking a lot, right? Where, I make my cup of coffee and it's time to grab a book instead of coming in here right away to get on my device, right? It creates consistency without the need for willpower, right? Because that decision energy pool and the willpower energy pool, it's the same pool, right? So as you drain that down, your decision-making abilities get less and less, right? Your willpower gets less and less. That's why if you're anything like me, I can do great all day long, eat good, just drink water, right? And then it gets around 7, 8 o'clock, and I could really use something sweet. And the next thing you know, you've emptied one little, a Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I swear to God, I've done that more than once, where I have a great day and then get to the end and like, oh, cheesecake. So power rituals help you keep that pool there, right? So the other thing that I also find is, again, that same pool of energy is where our creativity, right, our problem solving come in. That's why I always try to handle the toughest stuff in the morning, like podcasts, right? It's all about creating freedom for ourselves intentionally. It's taking command of your life and not just drifting to see what habits are going to show up today, right? It's being intentional about it, right? So, quick break. A word from our sponsor. You know what else helps with power rituals? Automation. And what better way to do automation than AI? So I am doing a challenge, a 3-day challenge, helping people use AI, learn how to use things like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama 3, all of that kind of stuff, and actually use it to help us get time back. And then, most importantly, not just get, okay, yes, you've gotten 5 hours, you've gotten 10 hours that AI has saved you this week. Don't just fill it with the same garbage that you were doing before and just doing more of it. Let's take that time that we've saved and actually do fulfilling things. Let's do things that are good for our souls, good for our families, whatever personal projects, self-care, playing with your children, writing your book, whatever it is. Take that time and use it for stuff that's going to fulfill you. That's why I do this. I love technology. I'm a technology geek, and I love helping people take command of their lives, and this merges that together perfectly. So the link is in the description. You can go to thirdpowerperformance.com, and there's a link there to sign up as well. All right, back to the show. All right, so 3 key rituals that you need to build, right? The first is a morning ritual. How you start your day is tremendously important. If you can start the day with energy, with focus, with positivity, right? It's where I'm reading every morning. I'm reviewing what were my wins from the previous day, and maybe I remembered an extra one, and I'll write it down, right? And I'm looking at the wins I want to have today, and putting myself in that positive frame of mind, right? Every morning I make my wife a cup of coffee before I make mine, before I come in here to do this. It's, as long as she's up, which she usually is either before me or at the same time. So I'm making her a cup of coffee. I'm showing that love. That's a power ritual for me because it's feeding my relationship. And let me tell you, there ain't nothing more draining than a bad relationship. Right? You need to be making emotional deposits all the time. And it's something that I like to do. That she loves it, right? Every morning I'll walk in the bathroom. Your coffee, my love, right? It's a fun ritual, but that's power. That's filling my bucket up so that I can do better that day, right? So how are you going to start your morning with fun, with energy, with positivity, right? And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It's, put a glass of water next to your bed, right? So when you wake up in the morning, you drink your glass of water and you started the day off hydrating. Important, right? And no, you don't run your water through coffee beans first. That doesn't count. At least that's what my personal trainer tells me. So morning rituals, really, really important. Then work power rituals. How can you set up your day to have focus, get clarity, do deep work. Now, there's some of us where, every time somebody ever looks at my work calendar, they're like, good Lord, man, when do you work? Right? So I've got meetings all the time. So sometimes it's really hard to get time to really get in the flow and get in the focus. So, I schedule time. I also have on my desk my little timer. So I put it on, and, I do the Pomodoro technique. That is part of my arsenal, my tool belt for creating the flow and the work. And I'll schedule time. I will block out time. I have focus time in my calendar where it says I'm unavailable. Don't bug me. You can't message me. Can't anything. Right. But set up that. Be intentional about it. Create those ways to get work done so that when you're at the end of the day, you've got wins to put in, and it will reduce your stress, and it gives you time to where you're not checking emails and you're not constantly distracted. You're actually focused on getting something positive done. The third that you must get is your wind down, your evening ritual. And I've gone way in depth on my ritual for that I've created now. And I cannot emphasize enough how impactful that has been over the past 2 months, right? So no screens at least 30 minutes before bed, please. It will help your sleep. You will sleep better. I promise you. I have Fitbit data to prove it, right? Write down your big wins. Write down the wins you want for tomorrow, right? And ideally, listen or read something like inspiring, and paper. Dead trees, not electronic. All right. So how do we create a ritual that will work for you? Keep it simple. Keep it repeatable. Right? There's nothing that I've said here that's super complicated. I think the most complicated one was getting a timer for the Pomodoro technique, right? It's just being intentional in how we live. I mentioned habit stacking. Use that. We don't have to get up and have willpower every morning to brush our teeth. Most of us, anyway, right? I do have teenagers, so. But we don't have to have willpower to remember to make our coffee in the morning. Okay? There's one. Take those habits that you already have, right? While you're brushing your teeth. I actually have my goals up on the wall in my bathroom, right? I had them framed and I made a nice little thing. So as I'm brushing my teeth, I review my goals. I've also got them up there if you see me looking up. I'll review my goals and my affirmations while I'm brushing my teeth, right? It's a habit I already have, and what can I stack onto that? What else can I do there, right? After you're making your coffee. For me, I make my coffee, and I pick up my journal, and I write in my journal, right? Before I pick up the negative box. So what are the habits that you have that you can add on to? It makes it so much easier to create consistency in those, right? And then track it, right? I have, again, going back to my journal, every day it's meditate, study, and exercise. Those are 3 things that I always want to do every single day, right? And I use the bullet journal method. If you're not familiar with it, bullet journal method, Ryder Carroll, I get nothing for this. This is not a paid advertisement. But, so I mark off the little X if I didn't do it, and if I didn't, it stays dot, right? And so I can look back and see, how am I doing? So, track, am I doing my morning rituals? And that will help keep you going. So, as we wrap up here, what is one ritual that you can start this week? Right? Maybe it's just a 5 minute, morning planning session. It's fun. Get out those journal. I know somewhere you have a journal where you started it and didn't continue. And if you are doing journaling, awesome. Journaling, great habit, power ritual to get into, right? So 5 minutes in the morning after I get my coffee, I'm going to sit and write out, here's what, here's my journal. Here's the positive things I want to happen today. Maybe it's in the evening, you adopt my, writing down 3 positive things. And it doesn't have to be in a nice, pretty journal. It can be on a yellow pad, right? Eventually, I tell people all the time, do journaling. I've got the past 12 years journals back here. It really is helpful going forward. But you don't have to do that. Keep it simple. Keep it something you can do and will do. If we start making it complicated, a confused mind says no. So make it simple. Do something simple for you to help take command of your life at least a little bit. That's what I would ask of you. So whatever you choose, commit to it for a week, right? This is where we do have to, depend on a little bit of willpower, but that's why it needs to be simple. Do something simple that's going to build and build and build, and you will get stronger and stronger with it. Okay. So thank you for listening. I hope this helps. Please create your power rituals. Please take command of your life. And I would love to see you in the AI challenge. I think that artificial intelligence has given us the opportunity to really put a lot of power behind our power rituals and can automate things and take away a lot of the monotony of our goals and of the tasks that we do, right? And it will free us up to create more power rituals that will enable us to take more command of our lives. All right. So until next time, my friend, keep living your lives to the third power, create your power rituals, and I will see you tomorrow.